Tonight's story is, I worked at an ocean research station. Something was breathing beneath us. Let's begin.
Drowning. She was drowning, but her lungs were full of air. Eleanor gasped awake, her chest heaving in the wrong rhythm. Inhale when she should exhale, exhale when she should inhale. Her body was breathing backward, and she couldn't stop it. The darkness of her quarters pressed against her eyes. Water dripped somewhere. Plip, 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 regular, measured, like a heartbeat that wasn't hers. She lay still, forcing herself to count. 6 hours, 17 minutes. That's how long until the next cycle. That's how long until it breathed again. Her alarm hadn't gone off yet. She'd woken 3 minutes early. She always woke 3 minutes early now. Eleanor sat up slowly. Her hands found the cold metal edge of her bunk. Real, solid, she was awake, but the feeling lingered. That sensation of being inside something vast and hollow, of breathing water like air, of serving a rhythm she didn't understand. 2 months now, 2 months of the same dream. She dressed in the dark. Her fingers knew the routine. Thermal shirt, station jumpsuit, boots. Outside her window, she could hear it. The ocean retreating, pulling back. The station's support struts groaning as water levels dropped. It was starting again. The observation deck was empty when she arrived. Coffee maker gurgling in the corner, the only sound besides the ever-present creak of metal. Eleanor poured herself a cup and stood at the window, watching. The tide was going out. Not slowly, not naturally. The water was fleeing, racing away from the station like something had called it back. The ocean floor emerged. Rocks slick with algae, sand that hadn't seen daylight in millennia, dark shapes left stranded and flopping. No, not flopping, not moving at all. Dead fish, thousands of them. Eleanor's coffee cooled in her hand. She didn't drink it. She just watched the water run away, revealing more and more of the seafloor. A quarter mile, half a mile, farther than yesterday, farther than last week. It was accelerating. Behind her, the stairwell door opened, footsteps on metal, quick, light. The new guy. Jesus Christ. Marcus Chen stood beside her, staring out at the exposed ocean floor. His hair was still messy from sleep. He'd probably woken to the sound of the station groaning. 3 weeks here, and he still wasn't used to it. Lucky him. Eleanor had gotten used to it. That was worse. 4th time this week, Marcus said quietly. His reflection in the glass looked pale. The tide shouldn't be doing this. It's like something's pulling the water away. Eleanor said nothing. She'd stopped using words like shouldn't 2 months ago. Dr. Price? He glanced at her. You okay? Fine, she lied. She took a sip of cold coffee. It tasted like rust. Just watching. It's getting worse, isn't it? The patterns are... The water came back. Not gradually, all at once. A wall of dark water surged toward them, slamming into the station's support struts with a sound like thunder. The entire structure shuddered. Marcus grabbed the desk. Eleanor just stood there, watching the waterline climb. 6 feet, 10, 15. The observation window was 20 feet above normal high tide. The water kept rising, kept climbing, until it pressed against the reinforced glass, dark and murky and full of suspended sediment that moved in slow spirals. And shapes, large shapes, moving with purpose through the depths. What the hell are those? Marcus whispered. Eleanor didn't answer. She was counting. 30 seconds. The water always held for exactly 30 seconds. 28, 29, 30. The water fell. Violent, sudden, draining away like someone had pulled a cosmic plug. The station lurched as support struts adjusted to the changing pressure. Marcus swore under his breath. 6 hours and 17 minutes, Eleanor said. Her voice sounded flat, clinical. That's the cycle, every 6 hours and 17 minutes, like breathing. She turned to look at him. His face had gone pale. Something is breathing, she continued, in and out, and we're standing right on top of it. Marcus opened his mouth, closed it. His hand was still gripping the desk, knuckles white. Nothing that size could... I need to show you something. Eleanor set down her coffee cup with deliberate care. Her hands wanted to shake. She wouldn't let them. In the basement storage, something you need to see. The stairwell down was narrow. Their footsteps echoed, hollow and metallic. The temperature dropped with each step. The smell changed, too. Salt and rust and something else. Something organic. Something rotting that the ventilation system couldn't quite filter out. Eleanor felt it with each breath. That wrongness in her lungs. That sense of breathing for someone else. She stopped at the basement door. Marcus waited behind her, his breathing loud in the enclosed space. Quick, nervous, still his own. "The last station chief changed these locks," Eleanor said as she entered her code. "Before he left. Made sure only senior researchers could access this room." The lock clicked. She pushed the door open. Marcus stepped inside, stopped. His breath caught. The walls were covered, every surface, decades of printouts, all pinned and taped in overlapping layers. Charts, graphs, photographs, handwritten notes scrawled in margins. The fluorescent lights buzzed overhead, casting everything in sickly yellow. "What the fuck?" Marcus's voice was barely a whisper. "Every researcher who's worked here long enough finds it," Eleanor said. She moved deeper into the room, weaving between filing cabinets and dust-covered tables. They all tried to document it, tried to find an explanation. She stopped at the far wall. The oldest documents were here. Yellowed paper, faded ink. Some of the photos were black and white. "This is from 1985. She pointed to a sonar image. "First deep scan of the ocean floor beneath the station." Marcus leaned closer. The image was grainy, but the shape was unmistakable. Something massive, irregular. Organic curves that were too symmetrical to be geological, half buried in sediment, stretching across the entire scan area. "That's a rock formation," Marcus said. But his voice held no conviction. "That's what they thought at first." Eleanor pulled open a filing cabinet drawer. It screeched in protest. She withdrew a thick folder. Until they noticed it was moving. She spread documents across the dusty table, more sonar scans, dozens of them. Years of data showing the same shape, slowly rising. Falling, rising again. "A few inches every few hours," Eleanor continued. "The same rhythm as the tides, 6 hours and 17 minutes. Marcus picked up one of the scans. His hands trembled. "This is impossible. Nothing that size could be alive." That's what everyone said. Eleanor opened another folder. Medical reports spilled out, psychological evaluations, transfer requests, letters home that were never sent. Then the dreams started. She spread them out, report after report, different researchers, different years, all the same. Marcus read aloud, his voice getting quieter with each word. "Dr. Sarah Winters, 1993. Transferred for psychiatric evaluation. Reported recurring nightmares of drowning while breathing. Claimed she could feel something vast using her lungs. Described sensation of being inside something hollow." He stopped, set the report down. "I've been having them too," Eleanor said. Silence. Complete silence. Even the ventilation system seemed to hold its breath. "The dreams," she continued. Her voice remained steady, scientific. "For 2 months now, I wake up and my lungs are burning, like I've been holding my breath underwater. But my chest is moving. Something else is controlling it." "Eleanor, using my lungs," she said, "like a respiratory system." Marcus stepped back. His shoulder hit a filing cabinet. Papers scattered to the floor. "What are we standing on top of?" The lights flickered. The station groaned, a deep, resonant sound that came from everywhere at once. The floor tilted, just slightly, just enough to notice. Eleanor grabbed the table. "That's early. The cycle isn't supposed to repeat for another 2 hours." They ran. The observation deck was chaos. Monitors had fallen from their mounts. Coffee pooled across the floor, mixing with seawater that had somehow breached the seals. The ocean pressed against the windows with impossible force, water dark and thick with sediment. Marcus ran to the communications array. "I'm calling for evacuation. This whole place is going to collapse." "They won't come." Eleanor was staring at the water, at the shapes moving within it, larger now, closer. "I tried calling 3 weeks ago. They told me to continue monitoring, maintain the station. Those were my orders." "What?" Marcus turned to face her. "That's insane. We're in danger here. They have to—" "They know, Marcus." Her voice cut through his panic. "Whatever this is, whatever we're sitting on, they know. They've known for 40 years. The water began retreating, fast, faster than before. Through the window, they watched the ocean floor reveal itself, and there, right beneath the station, a massive depression, circular, at least 100 feet across. As they watched, the depression expanded, contracted, expanded again. "Oh God," Marcus whispered. "That's a—" "Spherical," Eleanor said. "A breathing hole." The water rushed back, surging, rising. This time, it didn't stop at the observation window. It kept climbing. The station's support struts groaned under the pressure. One snapped with a sound like a gunshot. The deck tilted hard to starboard. Eleanor grabbed the emergency radio. "Station 7 to mainland. We have a structural failure." requesting immediate evacuation. Static hissed through the speakers, then a voice, calm and professional. Station 7, maintain your position. Evacuation is not authorized at this time. We're going to die here. Marcus's voice was hollow. He wasn't looking at Eleanor anymore. He was staring at the water, at the dark shapes circling beneath the surface. That's what happened to the others, isn't it? The ones who disappeared from the logs. Eleanor said nothing. They didn't transfer, he continued. They didn't quit. They drowned. They were... No. Eleanor's voice was quiet. They didn't drown. Another support strut snapped. The station lurched violently. Marcus fell, caught himself on a desk. Blood ran from a cut on his forehead where he'd struck the metal edge. I think it's waking up, Eleanor said. She was still staring at the water. Whatever's down there, the breathing pattern is accelerating. The tides are getting more extreme. It's been dormant for thousands of years, maybe millions, and now something's changed. Marcus wiped blood from his eyes. It kept coming, dripping down his face. We have to get to the emergency raft now! They stumbled toward the equipment bay. The station was listing badly, the floor at a 20-degree angle. Through the windows, the ocean churned. Waves colliding from multiple directions as tidal forces fought against each other. The sound was deafening. Water roaring, metal screaming, support struts groaning under impossible stress. The equipment bay door was jammed. Marcus threw his weight against it once, twice. On the third impact, it burst open. Inside, the emergency raft sat in its deployment cradle, bright orange against gray walls. Marcus grabbed the release lever. Wait! Eleanor's voice stopped him. He turned to look at her. Blood still dripped from his forehead, making dark spots on his shirt. What? The dreams. Her eyes met his. You haven't had them yet, have you? No, He stopped, understanding dawned. Eleanor, no, we're leaving, both of us. I can feel it, she said. Her hand moved to her chest, pressing against her sternum. Right now, my breathing. It's not mine anymore. I'm exhaling when I should be inhaling. My body is syncing with something else's rhythm. The station shuddered, more support struts failing. They had minutes at most. I tried to leave last month, Eleanor continued. Her voice was eerily calm. Got as far as the mainland, made it to my car, started driving. Eleanor? I couldn't breathe. My lungs just stopped, like they were waiting for permission. She looked at him. I had to come back, had to return to the station. It's the only place I can breathe now. Marcus grabbed her shoulders. That's psychological. Panic. We'll get you to a hospital. Dr. Winters tried to leave too. Eleanor gently removed his hands. So did the others. None of them made it more than a few miles. It's using us, Marcus. Using our respiratory systems to supplement its own. That's why they keep staffing this station. We're not monitoring it. The observation window cracked, a single line running corner to corner, water beginning to seep through. We're feeding it, Eleanor finished. Go. She pushed him toward the raft. You haven't been here long enough. It hasn't synchronized with you yet. You can still leave. I'm not leaving you here to... I'm already gone, she smiled. It was the saddest thing Marcus had ever seen. I've been gone since the dreams started. I just didn't want to admit it. The window shattered. Water exploded into the observation deck. A wall of black water hitting with the force of a flash flood. Marcus grabbed the raft's deployment handle and yanked. The cradle released. The raft inflated automatically, filling the equipment bay with orange rubber and the sharp smell of chemical sealant. Eleanor helped him climb into it. The water was up to their waists now, rising fast. The station was breaking apart around them, metal shrieking, supports snapping like bones. Tell them, Eleanor shouted over the roar. Tell them what's down there. Tell them it's waking up. She pushed the raft toward the emergency exit. The hatch was designed to blow outward under pressure. As water filled the bay, the pressure differential would do the rest. Marcus reached for her. Eleanor, please! The hatch blew. Water and raft and Marcus were sucked out into the churning ocean. He had one last glimpse of her, standing in the flooding bay, water up to her chest, perfectly calm, perfectly still. Then she was gone. Eleanor didn't try to swim. She simply floated. Let the water lift her, carry her. Through the shattered observation window, she could see down into the depths. The thing below was massive beyond comprehension. She'd seen the sonar images, had studied the data, but nothing had prepared her for the reality. It stretched in every direction, a living landscape of impossible flesh. The spiracle was only one of dozens, maybe hundreds, scattered across its vast surface, each one expanding and contracting in perfect synchronization. She took a breath. Water filled her lungs. It should have hurt, should have triggered panic, the body's desperate fight for air. Instead, she felt relief. Her lungs were no longer hers. They'd been claimed, repurposed. She was breathing water, and it was fine. She wasn't breathing for herself anymore. She was breathing for it, part of a vast respiratory system. One of countless organisms it had recruited to supplement its own biology as it slowly, finally woke from its ancient sleep. Eleanor sank. The pressure should have crushed her, but she felt light, weightless. Around her, she could see other shapes suspended in the water. Other researchers, other people who'd been claimed over the decades. Their bodies didn't decay, they simply drifted, lungs working in perfect synchronization, breathing water in and out, 6 hours, 17 minutes, the eternal rhythm. She understood now. The tides weren't a side effect of its breathing. The tides were the breathing. It had been here long before the first fish crawled onto land, long before the continents took their current shape. It had shaped the very concept of tides, had created the rhythm that governed every ocean on Earth. And now it was waking up. Eleanor's last conscious thought, before she joined the others in their endless service, was of Marcus, of the raft carrying him toward shore, of the story he would tell. They wouldn't believe him, they never did. But it didn't matter. The thing below didn't need belief, it needed lungs. And there were so many people living along the coasts, so many potential respiratory systems to claim. The next tide would reach farther than the last. The one after that, farther still. The dreams would spread to coastal cities, to millions of people living by the sea. One by one, they would feel their breathing synchronize with something vast and ancient and hungry for air. Eleanor's lungs filled and emptied, filled and emptied. The rhythm was perfect, eternal. She was part of something so much larger than herself now. The fear was gone, the questions were gone. There was only the breath, in and out, feeding the awakening giant that had been sleeping beneath the waves since before humanity learned to name the sea. Marcus made it to shore. He told his story to officials who took notes and said nothing. They thanked him for his service, offered him a generous severance package. He took it. He tried to forget. But 3 months later, living in a landlocked city 1,000 miles from any ocean, he woke from the dream, drowning, but his lungs were full of air. He sat up in bed, gasping. His chest was moving in the wrong rhythm. Inhale when he should exhale. Exhale when he should inhale. His body was breathing backward, and he couldn't stop it. He stood at his apartment window. The city lights stretched out before him. No ocean in sight, no water for hundreds of miles. But he could hear it, the sound of waves, the tide coming in. His lungs pulled, tugged, called him toward something he couldn't see. Each exhalation was a compass needle pointing toward the coast, toward the ocean, toward home. He packed a bag. He didn't know where he was going. But his lungs knew. They were calling him back to the water, to join Eleanor, to join all the others in their eternal service. The tide was rising. And it would never stop rising again.